Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back. And today we reviewed Big Bug,
Yes.
which is a Netflix movie. This is a French
Yeah.
movie.
It's a quirky French movie. It's like
It,
quirky French sensibilities. That's all I can say.
it kind of reminded, I remember when you were saying, hey, let's check this out. And you were basically
Mhm.
saying it reminds you of the review we did of, what was it, Automated Customer Service, which was a
Yeah.
Love, Death, and
From
Robots episode.
from the Love Death Roll. It's the same premise,
That,
same
yeah,
idea.
that
Um,
same sort of art house sci-fi sort of movie or
yeah,
show. It's
stylized
right.
sci-fi. I'll
This
put it like
joint
that.
was
Yeah.
shot in France. It's totally French. I watched a little bit of it in French,
Oh, yeah, you
which is
switched over
so
to
much
English.
better than the English version.
Oh yeah, the dubs are bad. They're real bad.
The dubs are super duper duper
They're
bad.
really bad.
What you
The
think about this
voiceover.
movie, man? This was an interesting one for me.
I when I was watching it at first, I was like, "Oh, this movie is so corny and over the top." And but like the message underneath it was like, I was like, "Holy crap, this message is phenomenal," and it's a timely message about are we doing too much with technology? Are we
Yeah.
allowing stuff to overrule our lives,
Yep.
where you can't make decisions? Because we're at the point now where people are driving off of a cliff because their GPS said so. Instead of like, lift your head up a little bit. What's in front
Right.
of you? It's the road. It's like GPS, like go straight. So we're going straight. Like this is where we are right now as far as technology. And it's the same thing in dating. Like people aren't meeting each other through dating. The algorithm told you to talk to this person.
Right.
So
It's
you don't even know if you would want to at all. The algorithm told you this is the person to talk to. So
so
where are
this
we going with this?
Well, I was watching this and I kept thinking about the metaverse, right? It's just like how
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
people would come into, people would just get caught in this space, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because, they, I don't know what sort of people would, totally spend
Mhm.
100% of their time in a metaverse, but there are a lot of people out there. It's just like 100, of people playing video games
Mhm.
all day. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I kept thinking like, okay, so this is where, these tech companies will say, hey, okay, we got you. The thing about tech companies is build
Mhm.
something that's addictive. TikTok, Instagram, and
Hey,
now
I'll
you
take it.
have that person, right? So if you
Yeah.
create this like ultra universe, this metaverse, and you have
Mhm.
all of these bells and whistles and you have robots controlling everything, what do you think a program is going to
Mhm.
do if it's programmed to learn from itself, right?
Yeah. It's only
Yeah,
gonna evolve and take over, like, that's
right.
this is the only option. I think Metaverse is the Matrix, like, version 0.01.
Yeah,
Like, it's before the 1.0. We're almost there, but not quite, and, once you start getting implants, it is a wrap, alright? That's
it's
all
a
I can
wrap,
say.
dude.
I
I
look at
mean
that,
the
it's a
the
wrap.
implants. I'm definitely not doing that.
Oh, hell no.
Come on,
It's
this.
like
But the interesting thing again is I like this. Is again, it's an art house sci-fi sort of flick.
it's a very art house type movie, yeah.
Color grading is sick. I mean, the whole. I mean, dude. I mean, everything looked awesome in this movie, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It looked like a big budget stylized art house movie for like that. As far as like, technology, because they had good animation, they had good special effects. It didn't look like, oh, this is cheap, whatever. It looked like they spent a little bit of money on it. But yeah, like that universe is very interesting because if you think about, we're not too far off from that. Everybody has the Amazon Echo and Alexis and all this stuff, and then we're doing the Android and Apple. Everyone's like, "Hey Siri," like so
Yeah,
that whole thing in the house, like asking the house to do stuff, whatever. We're already there.
we're there.
The thing we don't have is the actual automaton robot thing.
Yeah,
We're not there yet, but like everything like drones flying in the sky, that kind of stuff. Like we're pretty close to that. We don't have flying cars, we don't have robots like actually walking around. But yeah, it's an interesting world.
the the robots, I mean, Japan, China, even some US
They're
companies,
building them.
they're already building this stuff. They're
Yeah.
building these, robots that have human characteristics, so it's just like skin and everything else, smile, emotions, all of that. I
Yeah, they're
mean,
working on that.
they're working on that. I mean, I think in China they have robots that deliver food. So forget like,
Mhm.
DoorDash. You just
Yeah,
order
yeah.
this, a
It's
robot
using
comes,
drones.
opens a door, and then the food is inside of the robot. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, no, I said we're very close. We're not that far away, I
We're
think, as far as
very close.
timeline goes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you what you thought about the overall plot of as far as the story goes, not so much the technology, but just the plot. So, let me break down whatever is going on here. So, there's a bunch of humans, that are visiting this lady, and I guess she's trying to talk to this guy, I don't know. He's this guy.
The
He's trying to mac on the mother,
yeah,
and
you're
her
talking about
neighbor comes over, and her
Alice and
ex-wife.
Max.
Yeah. So her neighbor comes over, and
Francois.
her ex-husband and his new girlfriend come over, and then the world is locked down,
Mhm.
or at least in France is locked down. I don't know if this is global, but let's say for certain France is locked down, and the robots inside the house have decided to revoke powers from the humans to keep them from going outside, because if they do, they'll get the Yonix whatever version
Mhm.
3.0 whatever is going to come and get them. So the robots recognized it and were like, "Oh, we got to help these people because we can't tell them what's happening. We'll just keep everybody calm with jokes and silliness." But they're trying to save their lives from keeping them indoors. So what do you think of the overall plot of the storyline?
It's the same plot as automated customer service, right?
Yeah, yeah, same plot. It's
Right.
kind of the same plot as iRobot with Will
Hmm.
Smith. It's a
Robots.
little bit of the Matrix.
Yep. Robots were like, "Hey, there's danger. I'm locking you in. I have complete control. You can't
Mhm.
unlock this because I have the code." Um, and so these
Yeah, yeah.
people inside, the whole plot is like, okay, how are we
Mhm.
able to leave the house? What can we do to leave the house? How can we disable these robots? Um,
Yeah.
and I like this plot. I mean, I like this storyline. I mean, again, we both like automated customer service.
Yeah, yeah,
This is just a
yeah.
much longer version, done really well. Everything
Full
wasn't animated. Like some of the characters were not animated.
Mhm.
Obviously, some of the robot humanoid characters were made up to look, robotic,
Yeah, yeah.
but they
I
were
think the
still
Yonix
human
and
looking.
what's the maid? I forgot the maid's name. Monique.
Monique, I'm sorry,
Monique. Yeah,
Monique.
Monique
Mhm.
was the maid.
So yeah, and then you also had the sex robot who was helping out Francois. Like, okay, here we go. You know,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, this was a sleeper because again, I really enjoyed this. I watched it this morning. I woke up and I said, okay, let me just
Mhm.
watch it this morning. So my mind can be fresh and everything. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is a really 2 hours
It's a
long, an hour and
it's a
51
long
minutes,
movie.
but
They could have stripped it down a little bit, but, like,
they
I didn't feel the time. I'll put it like that.
I did not feel the time. And if something's long and I'll say it.
Mhm.
But this was long,
Mhm.
but no problem with the time because everything was
Mhm.
moving properly. It was exciting. Yonix was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you the satire from the shows where they had I get well, okay, I think that there's a wide universe of stuff that's going on. So they had the thing about they had to get permission to turn on the air conditioning. It cost them so many credits or whatever.
mhm.
They had to get permission about food. Uh,
Mhm.
turn the
Imagine
heating
that.
on or off. Like
Mhm.
you gotta get permission from the government to do that. All that stuff's scary enough. But like
Yeah.
the people they're asking throughout the show, there's this satire element about the humans that are humiliating themselves to be on TV, and
That was
they're
silly,
acting like
wasn't it?
animals.
Mhm.
Yeah, but how far off was that though? I mean, that's basically all these the reality TV shows right now. They're basically doing the same thing, humiliating themselves to be on TV. This is just the robot overlords are doing it to us though, but
That's,
same
well,
concept.
you know what? That's social media. You have like some people who
Hmm.
completely embarrass themselves just for like clicks and views, right? So it's just like, hey, um,
Yeah.
the interesting thing about that was during the entire movie, they had these advertisements that were just floating around each
That was
street.
also creepy, man.
That
That
was
was
also
wild.
creepy. But I think that something like that is conceivable. I think something like that will
Mhm,
happen. I mean, I remember I was on a metro once years
mhm,
ago, and we're going from station to station, and inside the tunnels, they had advertisements playing on a
mhm,
video wall of advertisements. So as the train was flying by, it looked like just pages were like being turned
mhm.
and an advertisement was happening. So, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
crazy.
cool. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, so they're starting to use space inside of a tunnel for
Mhm,
advertising. When you watch sports on television, let's say if you were watching, just an NBA game, and you see sort
mhm.
of those ads underneath the score table, those are
Yeah, on the
virtual.
sides. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they could just
Same thing
change
with,
that. Yeah,
soccer,
yeah,
football, whatever you wanna call it, they're on
exactly.
the side too. It kind
So,
of reminded
mhm,
me of, Minority Report
yep,
because they had the specialized ads, but they would scan your eyeballs,
yep,
and then they would do the Mr. Anderson thing, it would go right to
hmm,
that person's eyes, and they would say, like, "Okay, this is you need new jeans," or whatever. So they have an inventory of what's in your house, and they're saying, "You need new jeans, you gotta get a new fresh whatever." And that's the kind of what's happening on the show or the movie,
yeah,
that whatever happened inside the house, a little hovercraft thing would come over and do an advertisement to tell you what you need.
yeah.
That is we're here already though,
We're
because
here. Hmm.
when you browse on the internet, whatever you need based on your browsing history or whatever is gonna come up with this ad. Like, we're already here. Same thing with YouTube, whatever.
And the thing they talk about a lot, two things they talk about when it comes to the
Mhm.
metaverse, which I think the metaverse is, well,
Yeah.
I mean, we had Second City, which was the metaverse, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, not
That's
Second
initial
City, Second
1.0.
Life, Second Life.
Second Life, yeah, and,
That was sort of like the metaverse, right?
you could count World of Warcraft too, like the
Yeah,
initial thing, because people were spending days on that thing,
yeah.
just straight.
The I think the two things that these like Wall Street, big business, and tech
Mhm.
companies are really into when it comes to this metaverse is real estate inside the metaverse and
Yes, for sure.
advertising. The sad thing about this show, this movie, Big Bug, was how they were running ads. I mean, whatever you do, you know,
Mhm,
that means absolutely nothing. If your health, whatever, that means nothing. What
mhm.
matters is we now have the ability to run ads and make money because we're going to run these ads, and hopefully 1 out of 10 people who see these ads will go and buy our product, just like in Minority Report, whatever, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's, if you really think about it, the metaverse isn't like, I don't see how the metaverse can be for good because you're going to have these companies just like throwing ads at us. Then
It's
you're going to
all it
have
is.
bullying inside the metaverse and robots
It's a
and, just the
yeah,
AI, like, understanding what people are doing and saying, okay, we
yeah.
now need to readjust and show you this sort of content because based on your, just your
Mhm.
actions inside the metaverse, right?
Yeah, well, because, like, in the movie, they're doing things and the ad will just pop up because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
So, whatever the cost of something is, they'll shave, like, 30% off if you allow them to beam ads into your home at any moment in time. You could be doing whatever in the bedroom with your wife, whatever, doesn't matter. Ads gonna pop up on the screen in front of you just because you've given up that the authority of control to allow this ad to. That was crazy to me. I couldn't believe that. But like we're here.
We're
We're
here.
absolutely here.
The other the other weird thing about this movie was, okay, so you had the advertising, right?
Mhm.
And you had all of that. But Yanix, the I guess the ultimate AI
Yeah.
or robot, they had the ability to just go into your bank account and say, you have this
Yeah.
fine of $24,000. I'm taking it out. And by the time this Yanix kept finding them, their
Mhm.
accounts had been frozen or nothing was
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, like who decided, like, who's a moron in government that was like, you know what? This killer robot, I would like him to govern the police, the army, the IRS. Like who decided that? That's
you
insane to me.
you could have, I mean, a movie like this could create so many conspiracy theories, right?
Yes, because we're doing these things right now.
Right. Hmm.
That's the
Um,
problem. We're
and
currently
it's just
doing
like,
them.
no, this is what they're doing. I mean, there's this conspiracy theory about like birds or
Mhm.
robots, birds or drones.
Yeah, yeah, I heard about
Birds are
that too.
not birds. It's just like, okay, so they killed 12 million birds and they
Mhm.
replaced them with, drones. Like, oh my goodness, really? So
Yeah.
it's it's a sticky sort of subject, but the movie, I think the creators
There's
of the movie did that on
yeah.
purpose. They were like,
There
this is
there's a
this
lot
is
of truth
creepy.
to this.
Yeah, it's a lot of
There's
truth to
truth
it.
to this kinda creepiness that's
Yeah.
going on.
Hmm.
The intrusion into people's lives and giving up what they can and can't do for the convenience of saving a little bit of money on whatever. Because like the attitude now, if you think about it, we're going from a place of you own everything in your house to now you kind of rent everything that's you don't own your movies on Netflix.
Hmm.
Netflix they rent them to you.
Yeah.
You own a car, you got an Uber. The Uber rents it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like we're kind of at this weird transition point where people who used to have stuff doesn't have stuff anymore, and it's just easier, cheaper just to rent it for 9.99 a month or whatever, and and you can turn the subscriptions off for your air condition if you want,
Yeah.
or
But well,
subscription
at
for your
least
car.
at least they have over time they are now understanding that just these bundles for like 2-year contracts. They understand now that no, let's just give them the option to cancel whenever. So at least
Yeah,
they
you have
figure that
to.
out. Yeah, you have to because you would
Mhm.
lose money. People be like, no, I don't want to do that. There are other ways to watch content, other ways to do whatever you need to do,
People
pay
go
for whatever you
without.
want
Let's
to.
be real.
Yeah,
I
they.
don't need 1,000 channels on YouTube, whatever, for
Mhm,
content. Like that thing of like regular TV, not YouTube. But like I'm just saying,
mhm.
like there's so many ways to get content now and be entertained on a high quality level that you don't need network TV and that kind of stuff. So I think that they realize that they got to make it affordable and something that people would want. But we're in the streaming wars right now.
Yeah.
You have HBO, you have Paramount, you have, Disney, you have, what's the other one? Netflix, you have
Netflix,
Amazon.
Amazon, Apple TV. I mean,
Yeah,
Discovery. Everyone's trying to
Discovery,
consolidate, and it's just like
there's a
it's
lot.
it's a lot of stuff out there. Let me ask you this about Big Bug. So,
Mhm.
according to just IMDb, the budget for Big Bug was 13 million euro. So basically, maybe $16 million.
Yeah, so yeah, close to
Everything
it.
was shot like in 2 rooms, mostly in the living room of the house, and then a
Mhm,
little bit in the office where the Yonex was. Right?
mhm.
Remember with the Yonex? I mean, that's how he basically made himself an enemy, hostile, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
drones
he's
came
the
and killed
stamping.
everyone. Right?
Oops.
Exactly. Yeah,
He
like
scammed himself.
I'm hostile, right? So at least there was a fail safe where
Yeah.
if these robots went crazy, we have other robots that can kill them.
Well, no, it was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. Like they
Right, exactly.
he pressed no, somebody came another Yannick came in the room and
Spooked
distracted
them
him,
out,
and he
right?
scanned himself, and that's how they were able to be saved. Like
Yeah, that's because so but then you had these drones and it was just like so but okay, so 99% of this film was shot in this living room of the
yeah, like
house.
in 2 rooms.
16
I like
million dollar
movies like
budget.
this.
So most of this work was done on a computer.
Yeah, pretty much. A good chunk
Yeah.
of it's done on a computer. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that 16 million, 13 million euros, do you think that was a pretty reasonable budget? I mean, you could see that. What do you think?
That is cheap compared to what they delivered because, the
I
special
was gonna
effects was
say.
pretty good for the $13 million and considering the actors and you filmed this movie during the pandemic, so you had certain rules and stuff. You had to go work around it. That's incredible that you got all this done under that budget, that cheap budget. That's pretty good.
I thought so too. When I saw the budget, I was like, wow, you have all of this
Mhm,
tech under the hood for like
mhm.
$16 million.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to the fact that we are so advanced now as far as computers. Like, think about 10 years ago, people need this big supercomputer to edit a movie. Today, I can do it on my laptop and I get the same results. And everybody has a 4K camera on their phone. Like it's the technologies is so far advanced now for what you need to do. Like think about the computers that you need to make like the Transformers movie, the first one, versus what's available to them now. They can make that movie in like a third of the time, maybe even less, with the same special effects and everything because of the farm, like with the Mac M1 chips and the M2
Yeah.
chips or Mac, like we're light years ahead of where we were a couple years ago, just this year alone.
Do you think that Steve Jobs had a lot to do with this? I mean, with him purchasing Pixar and
I
just
think
opening up
that
that space.
well, like the initial thing for sure was George Lucas in Industrial Light and Magic. Like
Right.
they forever
That was
changed the
dope,
game
wasn't it?
for yeah, they forever changed
Hmm.
the game as far as like what you're capable of doing. Because you think about Star Wars, they did everything was the miniatures, but
Hmm.
it looked if you go back and watch anything from that year, as far as space, whatever, Star Wars looks like it was made today versus, and it's
Yeah.
like in 1977
Yeah.
compared to everybody else's movies that was out that year. It looked like it was made from a different universe, kind of like how Avatar was so far advanced at that
So
time
far. So
that
far.
it made everything look like amateur hour and today what people are capable of is just insane. Like it's really insane.
You know, the human robots in Big Bug, um, they weren't like Yonix wasn't a real robot. You know, he wasn't
Yeah,
like
it's exaggerated to
yeah.
for comedy or
You know, he
whatever.
wasn't like, you know, you didn't see the whole, I mean, like iRobot, those were robots, you know, they
Yeah,
were
it's just a
robots.
guy in a suit. It's a guy
Right.
in a suit.
It's just a guy in a suit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, this movie was a comedy as well.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy. There's a lot
Right.
of
Hmm.
sexual
Now,
innuendos and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, well, you know, the French don't play around with that. I mean,
Yeah.
like sex is a part of their culture. It's nothing like taboo about sex. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
okay, right? It's just here in America, it's a little different. You can't, you know, in
Mhm.
England, you may watch a commercial where a woman has no bra on. That's
Yeah, yeah.
standard,
Yeah.
you know?
Everybody like, oh my god, the kids
Yeah,
are
it's standard, dude. You know, it's just
freaking out
like
over the Super Bowl with Janet
it's
Jackson. Like
it's just someone's body part. It's nothing serious, right? Who was
Mhm.
your favorite character in Big Bug?
Ooh. Okay. Um I liked was it Alice?
Alice,
The
yeah.
mother.
Hmm.
I thought she was awesome. Okay. She's so she's absurd. She's absurdly French.
Yeah.
And it's not as a diss in a as a diss or whatever. I mean as a compliment.
Hmm.
It's the quirky French thing of sensibilities, whatever. And I
Right.
loved it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was
Yeah.
great. She's a good actress too. So I liked it.
She
Did
also
you
has
have
a
like a favorite?
Alice was my favorite character.
Mhm.
Who Max kind of, but Alice, she was my favorite character,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
Max was the father, right? The
Max was
ex-husband?
Max was the guy who was trying
No, no,
to
okay, Max was the guy
yeah.
who was trying to
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Victor
yeah.
was the
Who was the
ex-husband.
husband?
Victor.
Victor, yeah.
Victor, yeah. Mhm.
Victor is interesting. I didn't like him at first, and he kinda grew on me towards the end of the
Victor, I didn't
movie.
like him at first as well, but he grew on me because the other thing is, was he part of the team who created this like software, created these
No,
robots?
he said he just dabbled in,
Okay.
old robots and stuff. That's why he
Mhm.
designed the Einstein thing or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
and, he designed some of the robots in the house.
Right, right, right. Okay,
And
least favorite
yeah.
character.
Whew. Jennifer, by far,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Oh my goodness, just like
Jennifer. I wanna
Victor,
strangle
okay,
this lady. That's
but
fair,
when your
that's fair.
girl is that annoying, it's time to bounce, brothers, for real.
Oblivious annoying.
When she is that annoying, it's not worth it. It's time to bounce,
How do
you
you
know.
not see okay, the robots are trying to overthrow the world right now. Let me invite one over so that we can tell us what to do. What? No. I yeah,
She
that
sent the
annoyed me
message on
so
the
much.
old she sent the
She
message
was dial up.
yeah, she sent right to the Yonix like using dial up like AOL. It's
Yeah,
just
so
like
she's not an
really?
idiot.
Mhm.
She's not a dumb person. To do
Yeah.
something like that takes ingenuity and some level of uh some skill in programming and just some knowledge of computers, right? So he's not a moron. However, just blindly believing everything they're saying. What? Oh my god!
What do
And
you
then when
think
she
about
wanted to jump in and do the human thing, when she went to that was it? What's the show called? Where they embarrass the humans?
oh,
'Cause
I can't remember, but that was that a show just to embarrass humans? It's like a
people
sitcom to
like
embarrass humans.
I think that it's like a reality show where they pay humans to be embarrassed and have the robots treat them like dogs and animals or whatever,
Damn,
and,
wow.
like, they get paid for it because that's what they were
Wow.
going to do to the people in the house.
Yeah.
They're gonna
They
put
did
them
a
on the
little bit.
show. Yeah, they put them on the show,
Exactly.
yeah,
Wow.
to as punishment so that they can turn the air conditioner on.
Yeah.
So, I definitely think that because they kept asking there's a running joke about it. Are they doing it on purpose? Do they want to do it? Or are they enjoying it? Or are they're being forced to do it as slaves or whatever? So that was a running joke throughout the movie.
Right.
And yeah, there's something to that. I
Yeah.
would like to see more of this universe. I would like to know what happened.
This is, I thought that this would be a product of the meat department, which is that French company who did automated
Oh yeah,
customer
yeah.
service, but it's not. It's,
Mhm.
it's totally different, but they still have the same. I think they share some of the same designers or programmers or something like that, but
That's possible because like that whole
it looks alike. It looks
yeah, yeah.
a lot alike, a lot like the Love, Death, and Robots we saw.
Yeah, well, I think there would be overlap inside that industry because people are in the same field, so they probably
Yeah,
use some of the same people, and it's possible, freelance or whatever. But yeah, it was interesting the parallels between the short and this, and a lot of they took parallels from a lot of other movies and stuff like that, and that's what made it like I could relate. I was like, oh, I know that's from that. That's just reminds me of this. It reminds me of that, and it it worked. I liked it. I would well, okay, do you wanna do the ratings now? You wanna
yes. I was about to say, what are you going to rate this movie? Big Bug, Netflix, French
okay,
movie,
so
$16 million
I'm
budget.
IMDb has it at 5.5, which
I
I
know.
disagree with.
That's
That's a
totally,
travesty
yeah.
because while the movie on the surface is a quirky comedy, like a French type art house comedy,
Mhm,
underneath the surface is a satire about society today and the dark side of all of that stuff. And
mhm.
because of that, I give it an 8
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
It's a solid movie. Forget the silly laughing and how they talking, whatever. Forget all that. The underneath pinnings of this movie was solid. It's an indictment about where we're going in society, and I loved it for that. It's a great movie. 8.
You know what? This movie, it was quirky.
Yeah, it's
It
very
was
quirky.
funny. It was a thriller slash comedy slash sci-fi,
Mhm.
obviously. Um,
Yeah.
and I think the creator, directors, producers, everything else, they were like, hey, you know what? This is a little poke in what technology companies are doing. And this is what
Mhm.
we have to be aware of because we're talking
Yes.
about programs, software, programs that can learn from itself, right?
Mhm.
So that in and of itself could be scary, or that's something that's happening now, and who knows what's going to happen in the future. But this was a very good movie for me. Total surprise. I mean, I did not know I would just be
Mhm.
into this movie.
Yeah.
Um, it's a great movie. I'm giving it an 8.5 because it was
Okay.
such a surprise. It looked really great. I mean, it seemed like this movie was shot in 8K and bumped down the 4K.
Yeah, this is very crisp.
It's
I don't know what
very
they filmed
crisp,
it with.
right?
It's probably like Alexa or something
Yeah, this
or
was like video
or
was
Red.
crispy on this joint. I was like, wow,
It was
this looks
very
really good.
crisp.
And mind you, they
Yeah.
shot like it was just two locations,
Mhm.
inside the home and the living room or whatever it was. And then maybe 2 to 5 minutes at the office of the Onyx, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's pretty much it.
So this was a great movie for me, 8.5. I would say, listen, if you have like 2 hours and you want to watch a really interesting film, would you say
Mhm.
this has a little bit of animation in it?
Yeah, for sure. I think the smaller robots are animated, but
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, as far as the social commentary, this movie's spectacular. Now you got to get around the quirkiness for sure,
Yeah.
but the underpinnings of this movie is really solid and it's food for thought.
Yeah.
Also, I think the moral of the story is keep your old technology around.
Yeah.
Keep your flip phone. Keep one of those bad boys. I don't
keep
know.
keep all
You
your
may need it one
analog
day.
stuff because it's going to be weird. I do keep some analog stuff. Some analog stuff you just have to get rid of though,
Yeah.
because
Don't
it's
keep
so
everything,
yeah
but a couple old school things. If you got like an Android, the new super Androids, whatever, keep an old version. Just keep one in the garage somewhere, just in case. You
yeah
never know. Something that can't be updated because it's too old. Get one of
yeah,
those.
but still can work because it has like a mini motherboard and some chips in it and you can work things
Yeah.
out.
Don't throw everything out.
Don't throw it out. Well, there you have it. Big Bug on Netflix. This is a French film. This is
Mhm.
awesome. Budget was 16 million, but you would never tell that it was 16 million. Great film, shot pretty. It was just shot well. I gave it an 8.5. DJ Keo gave it an 8. Again
Mhm.
on Netflix. Go check it out, and I'm quite sure you will not be disappointed. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.